Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. Now this video is important. I know the picture on the screen is a bit disturbing, but it's my responsibility to try to explain things to the best of my ability. And it really helps shed light on the topic. Now back in August 2009, right, August 31st, 2009, I made my first official video about the global conspiracy that includes nationalists, globalists, Democrats, Republicans, libertarians, you name it. And since then I've been proven right big time, with even more facts lining up in my favor, making it clear that I'm right. Now the first video was about ancient Egypt, right? It was titled something to the effect of Ancient Egyptian Wisdom Collected by Ancient Eurocentrics. Before that, it was just titled Part 1 of the series and something to the effect of Ancient Egypt or something. Over time, maybe a couple years later, I changed the title to Ancient Egyptian Wisdom Collected by Ancient Eurocentrics. Now, the governing class is very much concerned with ancient Egypt and the Roman and the Greek and the Greco-Roman conception of ancient Egypt. That's why there's the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill, the Katy Perry imagery, Aleister Crowley, very famous occultist, with his sex magic, again, sex magic, relative to ancient Egypt. I'm not a racial supremacist, but I wouldn't be doing a good job if I left this part out. The word set, okay, part of the wordplay of the word set includes set up, set the stage, right? Stage, Dionysus, a deity of the theater, right? Ritual madness, rape, religious ecstasy, right? And all these things that he's a deity of: wine, grapes, the harvest, and things related to the rape by deception, ritual madness process, as he's considered a young Zeus. Dionysus is also called Liber. In Liber, Dionysus has been compared to Osiris, but that's not quite the case. Dionysus is actually Set. There's different ways to interpret the Osirian mysteries and mythology, the mythology of Osiris. And there's people who interpret it in a very dark way. So the first video I made was very much about martial arts, right? It's very much about the kind of philosophy, the African religion behind African martial arts. And I brought up Horus and what have you. Now, they were very mad about that video. Almost immediately, somebody who was a black person whose video I watched, he sent me a message and said, "Hey, you're not supposed to do that." And I'm like, "What the heck are you talking about, right? I'm not in a cult. I don't work for him. I don't work for anybody else. Like, what are you talking about?" And he said, "I can't tell you why, but I can tell you, I'm allowed to tell you, something to this effect, that you're not supposed to do that, right? You're supposed to, him saying it, not me. He was saying that people are supposed to do what is outrageous, which is only make videos about things like that if they have some kind of mentor." And I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about, right? This is YouTube. I believe in free speech, what have you." But of course, there's token minorities that work for the oppressor. And so they were mad because of the sexual implications of arguing that the ancient Egyptians were black, right? If you look at Egyptian imagery, there's these black guys with these big penises that are being portrayed. Okay, there's various cults there, and they're cultivating various ideas. There's various orders over time. Maat is a deity of order. Horus is a deity of justice, and as the archetype of Pharaoh, a deity of, the divine order, right? And in some explanations, we see that Horus is concerned with restoring the divine order, and so on and so forth. So they're very mad. And they started persecuting me more than they already were, because they were jealous of me, because they knew who I was. Not just the son of two doctors, one a brain surgeon, but who I am. And I've proven definitively that I'm the top martial artist ever possible. Why martial is marital scrambled. Now, if we look at the different activities, right, you get grapple, the word grape, right, Dionysus, right, grape, is scrambled into the word grapple, as is the word rape. And a lot of military guys, Roman guys, Greeks, you name it, militaries all over the world, okay, they're trained in various forms of grappling, and they use it to rape women. And they know that pisses off people like me. So this is a long-standing martial art disagreement about whether or not it's okay to rape women, whether or not it's okay to lie about things, to confuse women in regards to who sleeps with who, and has implications on the future, right? The children of the future. And they know that someone like me has been cultivating nobility, honor, and virtue for generations, right? Somebody whose spirit has been cultivating these things for generations, and he's born as the King of Kings. He's going to be very sensitive to this. That's why the word Set is a play on words for T's, right? S-E-T-H can be T-E-S, and Set has various forms, right? Sutak, Sooty, various ways to apply his name, and arguably, because the vowels are said to be interchangeable, one is Sith, and you see the Star Wars, right? Star Wars, the sun, what have you, right? The solar deities, the lunar deities, the lunar cycles, what have you. So we see that they were very angry at me from the first video onwards, but they were also very jealous of me and persecuted me my whole life. And it doesn't take a genius. When I try to explain this, I've made thousands of videos about romantic justice over the years. It's one of the major topics in my videos. And I've said Marshall is marital, scrambled, and I, Christ, and the bridegroom many, many times. Bridegroom, bridgegroom. And I've been in public saying it. I've scrambled to say it. Some videos got just a few views. Some videos got many views. I've scrambled to make it clear. While I'm persecuted and why females are dating their oppressor and coming into the culture of their oppressor. It's like the whore that rode the beast, right? They're blood money, and they desire money and what it can get them. So the blood in the blood money, the blood that was shed, okay, on the rape and all the horrible stuff that's attached to that blood, the rape in their blood, the blood that was shed, they're desiring that money and the spirit of that money, which includes the rape, the child molestation, the drugging, okay, the murder, the mass murder. That's why it's called making a killing in business. Thus, the prostitute is drunk off the blood of the saints, those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, including insisting on romantic justice. Horus, the deity of justice, including romantic justice. And the Osirian mysteries, he's the son of Osiris and Isis, who's a deity of love. So it's in his blood to be concerned with romance and justice, and the implications of murder, as Osiris is said to be killed by Set, who's killing him to set the stage to change the direction of the human reproductive cycle to go toward things like science, just merely book smarts. There's various forms of intelligence, right? To date based on how brilliant of a scientist someone is, you may as well be dating based on how well they bake a cake or draw a picture, or if they can touch, their nose with the tip of their tongue. Some people can, or they can kind of fold their tongue or whatever, right? It's stupid. See, judging by the content of the character is doing romantic justice to that degree. So that should be the main concern, character. Righteous intensity. Women's loyalty, especially attractive women's loyalty, should be toward the righteous, not toward people who have blood money and leverage it to terrorize people, including terrorizing people to get them to hand over their daughters, for them to, sexually abuse and to marry and so on and so forth. Look up the term war bride. It's part of that process. So as the elite are making a killing and they're exploiting people and they're teaching people to be materialistic, right? It's a crony capitalist culture. There's cronies everywhere helping them do it. Managerial class, what have you. They're getting females to date these monsters. And so these fair weather sluts who marry them and have kids are bringing about abominations. Thus, Babylon mystery is said to be the mother of abominations. Mother of harlots, right? These stupid whores who keep reproducing in their system, which becomes the masses of the people, right? Gog and Magog, one way to interpret it is it's the masses of people, right? The mark of the beast, 666, humanity's number. It's interesting. I looked up today. I looked it up today, and it said that 66% of young females, of females who are college age, are enrolled in college. Now the problem isn't that they're going to college. If you have a sound plan, maybe you should go to college. The problem is they're accepting the scale that comes from the culture of those nerd-based cultures. The nerd-based colleges. Now look at like Yale. I read some years back, there was an article where some Yale guys are running around. They were saying that no means yes. They were saying that. And that to them, yes means what it doesn't, which is the word anal. They're saying that yes means anal. So they're basically saying that if they say no, that they're going to rape them. And if they say yes, they're going to have sex with them in a way that they don't want, that has implications on Greco-Roman culture, because that's where like the main centers for homosexual were in the world. It's like Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible, it's Babylon, it's Greece and Rome. And eventually France became up there as well. some years back I read that like 25% of French guys were gay or bisexual, if I'm not mistaken. And London is another place, what have you. Tel Aviv. So as you see these kind of like Hollywood is a play on words for Hollywood, it's unholy. The devil counterfeits, right? Counterfeit, which goes back to martial arts, right? The word fit is like the word fight. And so these people playing stupid, pretending that their martial arts and their crafts, right? The snake is described as crafty. The snake wraps around you like a grappler, right? A boa constrictor, anaconda, okay, python, right? They wrap around you and you have to grapple with it, right? But you want to kill it before it ever comes to that. Thus, the difference between Horus and Set, right? Set is, a boar, a hippo, okay? These snake, these animals that the leopard strikes, the falcon strikes, what have you. The falcon striking the snake. And these also are patterns in nature that show you the nature of things. If someone's nature is like a boar or a snake, that's not good. If someone's nature is like a Venus flytrap or a chameleon, right? Or a snake changing, it has a certain color to blend into the ground to capture its prey and so on and so forth, right? That's a part of it as well, that camouflage. Now I went way over time here. Okay, and I used to have these I had to throw in my sparring gear, but and that's a whole story for another day. When we were moving here to Michigan, my older brother acted up on me, but it was called lightning, right? And I have a picture on my wall of an MMA glove, and it says venom on it, venom. And of course, they're poisoning me and fuming me, right? And you have the spitting cobra, okay? And into there's a wind, right? There's a bunch of sand. There's a gust that's poison, like mixes in and becomes like a poison fume. That's a story for another day. And you see these dinosaurs and things depicted as spraying some kind of poison spray on people. Okay, so I went way over time. I'm going to have to wrap this up. In case you're still confused, the word romantic has the word Rome in it, but the Romans weren't romantic, they were counterfeiting. Right, and exotic, we have the word tick, and the word erotic and tick. And these people have set up right together. To get her, pirate is rape, it's scrambled. Crave food is faux do, grub, G-rub. Meal, melee, the menu, men-you-lay, meal, melee. And a melee is a kind of like, it's like a clash.